For more, let's bring in our chief foreign editor, Rob Parsons, who's standing by this hour in the capital. Rob, in recent days, the focus of this war has very much shifted to the east, where the shelling and the suffering continues.
That's absolutely the case. The Russians have pulled their troops out from north of Kyiv and are moving them gradually to the east of the country, where they can back up the battle group they already have there. And it is clear now that they are going to press to try and achieve at least some of their goals in the Donbass area of Ukraine. They've appointed now a theatre commander, General Alexander Dvornikov, who was the commander of Russian forces in Syria. Not that this is clearly going to give him any great advantage, since he wasn't commanding major battle groups in Syria. He was, if anything, he was directing Russian air forces there. But the idea is at least to concentrate the chain of command for the Russians and to really try to strike harder this time and more effectively than they did in the battles around Kyiv and elsewhere. For the Ukrainians' part, they're well dug in the Donbass area. They've got their most experienced troops there. Their morale is very high. They're continuing to get weapons from the West, and feel, although, as President Zelensky said, this is going to be a very, very hard battle, that some sort of triumph is within their grasp, that they will be able to resist the Russian attack. Remains to be seen, of course, but there's no doubt that in the coming days, weeks maybe, we're going to witness one of the biggest battles, if not the biggest battle, that Europe has seen since the end of the Second World War.
And Rob, you've driven from the western city of Lviv to the capital, where the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson made a surprise visit to show just how much the UK stands with Ukraine. Yeah,
we drove from Lviv on the western border of Ukraine, the border with Poland, across the country. It's an 8-hour drive. It was interesting just how peaceful the west of the country is. Very little military presence to see there. The checkpoints, of course, along the road. Lots of patriotic posters urging people to support the military. But it's not really until you get to the area closer to Kyiv that you start to notice the military presence. We had to detour, for instance, off the main road to avoid going through the town of Makariv, which was the scene of a big battle with the Russians, and to avoid the road that leads through Irpin, where the bridge has been blown up. So we had to cut across country where there is a much more significant military presence, and eventually we got to Kyiv just after Boris Johnson had been here. It has to be said, Boris Johnson is very popular in Ukraine, regarded by the Ukrainian government as the man who is leading the Western coalition, particularly in the effort to get military supplies here. And he didn't fail them on Saturday either, promising another 120 armoured vehicles for the Ukrainian army, plus anti-ship missiles for the Black Sea. As well as the 100 million that £100 million in weaponry that he promised a few days ago. He himself was here to encourage the Ukrainians, to praise the efforts that they've made. He described the Ukrainian people as having the courage of a lion, and said that, turning to President Zelensky, he said, "And you, Volodymyr, you have the roar of a lion."